I'm
Yeah.
not sure if this is one of their writers or someone wrote in, but he's writing about, the name of the article is "Should I Ask Her to Leave? My controlling mother has unofficially moved herself into my home after a surprise visit, and she's ruining my love life and draining my bank account." So I want to get your take
Yeah.
on this. I want to read a little bit of the articles because it's interesting what some of the stuff that the brother is saying. So let me read it to you. I am in my mid-30s, and some might say I'm a mama's boy, but I prefer to think I just love my mother, and I'm not ashamed to
Right.
show it. Growing up, my
Right.
mother was my everything, still is. My father wasn't around, so we grew a bond that became unbreakable. A month ago, she popped up and surprised me at my house. I live in Texas. She lives in Chicago. She's been working as a nail tech for as long as I can remember. The COVID-19 pandemic proved devastating for her livelihood. Though. So I began supplementing her income, paying bills at the salon and her house, and taking care of everyday comforts for her. Even though she's had a steady boyfriend for 12 years, in large part, I feel like I'm doing the job he should be tackling. Now, mom told me she'd be staying for 2 weeks, but 2 weeks have shyly turned into a month, and she's severely crippling my lifestyle. Not only does she dictate what goes on in my household, but she also makes it uncomfortable for my girlfriend to come over. The last time my girl came over, I wasn't home, so my mother had time to really dig her nails in. She made a comment to my girlfriend, warning her against getting pregnant, and stating that she has a life and she's not a babysitter for us. My girlfriend was mortified and and hasn't been back to my house since. So Sonia, and this is the thing, right? Because I want to talk to you about it because you have 5 boys, right? Who will possibly be dating shortly. And I've seen several situations where, not like this. This was kind of funny to me, but I've seen situations where the premise was the same, where the mom doesn't have a man around, right? The
Right.
mom
Right.
is a single parent. The son has
Right.
had to become like her one and only type of thing. And then
Mm-hmm.
she gets to control in his life. So as
Mm.
a woman and a mother, how do you feel about that? Like because I agree with him taking care of his mom and helping her out. Like that
Yes.
was
Yes. Yes.
100. You
Yes.
should be hopefully you're able to do that. That was cool. But where's the line, Sonia? Like when did you back off?
So, young man, do I ask her to leave? And I would say no, but I do think that boundaries are important. Okay, so he alluded to that the visit was supposed to be 2 weeks. It turned into a month, and that month has been hellacious. And I'm being, very facetious when I say hell. But here are the questions that I would ask. I would ask you to add up the cost that it takes for a single parent to parent a child. Is very high. What are the sacrifices that she had to put in, and
Wait, so
making
you're
sure that
not
you
saying
are
he owe her. You're not saying he owe her, Sonia.
no, okay. So yes, part of me is saying you guys to deal with some things. Like my boys, they have to deal with some things because I'm just that mama. I'm that mama that showed up at your games to be your biggest cheerleader. Like it's been 3 weeks since my son's high school graduation. I'm just getting my voice back. I was screaming so loud at that Gold One arena. Everybody in that arena was hearing me say my child's name. I promise you, because that's how loud I go in the paint for mine. So I'm asking, this young man to add up the cost. And I'm saying this because I am the mother of 6 beautiful Black boys who I take personal our relationship, and our relationships have been invested with a lot of time, effort, and energy. But I do think that boundaries are important. And I say that because on the side of this young man, I think that it's important when you become an adult to establish, like, you can't come into my space and rearrange things. If I give you a room to stay in, that's one thing. But our common areas, this is how it is, and don't make yourself feel so comfortable that I have to be put into a position to do something that I don't want to do. Because
Mhm.
mama, baby boy don't want to say you got to go. And that's what I hear in this letter. It's a frustration, right? It's an infringement on one's comfort. And that's, I think, the conversation that's bigger to be had of between parent and child is like, where can we as adults one come together and have adult like conversations regardless of what our relationship is. No, I'm being very facetious because I probably will be that mama. Not that would you I'm telling you now, and you know, anyone under the sound of my voice, when my boys bring home someone, my oldest is 29, my next one is 25, my next one is 22. When they bring home someone that they're dating, I give her the warning, you might want to run because he ain't ready for no relationship. So I'm that kind of, I'm honest.
Oh, yeah.
I'm super honest. But at the same time, I'm telling her, if you do stay, here are some things that I notice as a woman. If you need these things as a woman, you might have to bite your tongue sometime, because if you want to give him that freedom and flexibility to be a man, he's going to have to grow into that, because I'm just being honest. I would not date my 29-year-old, my 25-year-old at this moment in their lives if I were their age. So I give those kind of caveats to them. I do say to them, I'm not trying to be with no babysitter. So if you want to get knocked up, let's talk about it. Let's talk about what that's going to look like, because you're not dropping no babies off to me. So I think those are legitimate concerns that parents, mothers should be having with their children and their significant others when they become adults. The last thing that I would say is, when know your role as a parent in those relationships, because sometimes our children want to draw us in as adults with the hopes of us taking their side over their, the significant other that they are dealing with. And I don't take sides. So, if my child is wrong, they wrong. And I'm going to let both parties know that they're wrong. But there's that boundary thing again. How far do you get into their relationship? The last thing that I would say, yes, there is, I think in this story, I think she's taking a little bit of advantage with him paying her bills and making sure that she's good, especially if she got a man of her own, because that's his responsibility. And so again, this goes all back to boundaries. He has to establish some he got to get, he got to put on his big boy pants, pull up his socks, lace them shoes up, and be like, stand 10 toes down and be like, mama, we can't do this. At least we can't do this like this. Here's when I could do this if there wasn't a man in the situation, if you didn't have a job. But we have to get, put that tough love on and set them boundaries.
Yep, and so that was funny, Sonia. She said that would be me. You that hard. But look, having your mom move in, I think is something that you should be in a position to do. Should she be able to live with you for a while? Yes.
Yeah.
I think you owe your parents gratitude. Yes. Like you owe your parents respect. Yes. You owe your parents reverence, right? And if you do all these things, that may end up being in the form of finances. That may be your time, whatever the case may be.
Right.
But you don't owe them, but you do. Like just you do, right? So I understand that part. And something, because I've seen situations like this, like I mentioned before, that was much worse to me. Meaning, I think when women have kids and there's no man around, there's no father, it's just you and the son. Sometimes you take on more of man-woman roles instead of father, or instead of mother-son roles.
Those
Those
are the blurred lines, and it's not fair on the child. It's not. It gives them an undeserved responsibility that they should have never had from the get-go. I firmly believe that. But that goes back to what we've talked about before, is that adultification. We as parents can be guilty of adultifying our own children, putting them in positions and having them make choices because of responsibilities that they should never had in the first place.
Adultification. And that's a part of that, because then that young man, you treating him like your husband, now he got responsibilities. Now he think he got to make money. Now he not of the age to work, but now he out there selling dope because my mom is at a disadvantage and there's no man around. So it's like a natural little slot that he feels. And that's one of the reasons why I want to bring up that story, because that's unhealthy. That story wasn't speaking to that as much, but that is unhealthy at times. So we need to be aware of that as parents,
Yeah.
All right. So something else I want to play real quick. Very disturbing video. I want to